Hello and welcome to the Super Rugby final prediction brought to you by Driving Maul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind Driving Maul, your best place for rugby opinion and predictions. And yes, we've finally reached the end of the Super Rugby competition. We have the Crusaders hosting the Lions, and earlier tonight, myself and Shane went through and gave every single team a grade in our Super Rugby end of season review. Next week on Tuesday at 8 p.m. New Zealand time, we'll do our Super Rugby awards show for some serious and some funny or silly awards will be given out then. So do join me back for that next week. Anyway, let's get on to it. The Crusaders versus the Lions. I think everybody has the home side as favourites in this one. And let's be honest, they've only lost twice this season, away to the Hurricanes and away to the Highlanders. And they're at home. Not only at home, they haven't had to play away since before June. So they had a bye and two home games before the finals, and they've been at home all the way through the finals. So the Crusaders have not got any travel issues whatsoever. The Lions topped the Africa Conference and have been at home for the finals as well. They did have an away game since June, but that was in South Africa. So they haven't had to travel very far. This is their first long trip. But this is basically it's the inverse of last season when the Crusaders visited the Lions in Joburg and won. Obviously, Kwagga Smith in that one picked up a red card early on, and he'll be hoping to redeem himself for that in this game this weekend. I'm sure that they will try and put that all out of their minds and just focus on the game. But it's never easy when it's going to be such an important match for all the players. So how did the Lions win last weekend? Well, they won by beating the Waratahs in that up-front battle with their forwards at the set piece, and particularly including two line-out mauls. Now, the problem with that is to get a line-out maul, or to get a line-out close enough to maul it over the line, you generally need the opposition to give away a penalty. Now, the Waratahs were very nice like that last weekend. They gave away 15 penalties in that game against the Lions. The Crusaders, on the other hand, only gave away 5 penalties against the Hurricanes. So the Crusaders are going to starve the Lions of that set piece that they can use to score tries from by basically maintaining their discipline and trying to give away as few penalties as possible that allow the Lions to kick to the corner. Sure, there are other ways you can get lineouts close to the line, but that is, let's be honest, the favourite one and the higher percentage. They can obviously kick long and then hopefully try and bundle someone into touch close to their try line, but that doesn't happen anywhere near as often. So the Lions are probably going to be starved of that way of scoring tries. That's where a lot of their tries have come from. They do have a very strong pack. The other thing that happened between the Lions and the Waratahs was the tackling percentages were way down. Now, I have seen a tweet put out there showing that the tackling percentages for the season has been similar for the Crusaders and the Lions. And so people were saying, hey, look, the Lions' defence is as good as the Crusaders. But there are a number of ways of measuring up of measuring defences. And at the end of the day, it's about not giving up points. And the Crusaders have given up a lot less points than the Lions have in that department. So you can measure it by discipline, you can measure it by yellow cards, you can measure it by percentage tackling and all that kind of stuff, where the Lions do measure up absolutely fine. But when it comes to points, and let's be honest, it's points that win games, the Crusaders are much more efficient in their defence. Now, is that because of cover defence, better positioning, all that kind of stuff? Yes, probably. And that's where the Lions are going to have to really step it up and make sure that they make those first up tackles, because their cover defence isn't as strong as the Crusaders. And the Crusaders are, let's be honest, probably are the most clinical team in Super Rugby. They're not as flash or as some other teams, but they are clinical and they do score. So those are going to be key areas that the Lions need to sort out. They need to try and get as many, trying to put pressure on the Crusaders to give up penalties, which is going to be extremely difficult to do. And then they need to also shore up their defence as well, because they have leaked a lot more points than the Crusaders this season. On the scoring side, they're about similar. No big deal, no big difference there. So that's scoring could potentially be a problem for them because, like I say, so much of it comes from that lineup more. But they do have people like Dante who can, as he did against the Waratahs, create something from nothing. So the Lions do score tries in other ways. It's just one of their sources will probably be restricted from them in this final. The Crusaders now, pretty much an All Blacks pack. You then get Richard Mo'unga sat in that nice armchair ride from the All Blacks pack, and outside him, a very good set of backs that again, most of them have been capped or at least been part of All Black squads. Bridge, the only one that hasn't, but hey, he's scoring tries for fun as one of the top try scorers in the competition. So hey, not bad to be the only one who's not being in All Blacks camps. And so at the end of the day, I think the Crusaders are going to just win by 10. I think we've said probably for about half the season that they're odds-on favourites to win the tournament, and nothing has really changed to suggest otherwise. So looking forward to the game this weekend. I say I'll be watching it after I've popped down to Harawa to watch Taranaki versus Wanganui in the Ranfield Shield Challenge game that's down there. It's a pre-season game for the Mitre 10 Cup, and Taranaki being the Mitre 10 Cup team, and Wanganui being a Heartland Championship team. So it should be a home win quite comfortably. It was last weekend against Poverty Bay. So I'll be off to watch that. If you're there, do say hi. And also, let me know your thoughts on the final down below. Please share with all your friends and all of that kind of lovely stuff. And do enjoy the rugby you're watching this weekend.